You should just say it.
Do it. Just say it. Just say it.
What is a fly? What is a fly called without wings?
What?
A walk.
This is what happens when Tim's not here.
My 6-year-old son said that to me, and I just burst out laughing.
Welcome to the Geeky A Go-Go podcast, a weekly podcast where we talk about all things geeky. Movies, TV shows, tech, comic books, cosplay, and more. If it has something to do with being a geek, well, we'll talk about it here. My name is Anthony Pizzuto. Let's get this party started. Joining me today in the Go-Go is the baddest batch of geeks this side of the Kessel Run. Nitro, Chris, and Eric Hoda. Ho. What's going on, boys? Woo! Yes, all right. We're down a bad batcher today. Toots, the baddest of the batch. I don't know what happened to him. We've messaged, we've texted, we've smoke signaled, we've hologrammed.
We have to go to his house next.
We're going to go to his house. I think we need to go to his house and say, Toots, what'd you do? What did we do? Did we offend you? Maybe he's still trying to get down that hill in Berkeley Heights where the explosion of water and everything. Yeah.
He's looking for the mold.
He's looking.
I just had this image of Chris staring into his house and go, "Hey, Tim, what you watching?"
So, Tim, if you're listening to this episode, tell us what you're watching in the comments. Oh, poor guy. I hope he's all right. We'll find him after this with the mole people. All right. What's going on this week so far? Chris, what you been up to?
Finished building my Calyx shelving units.
Nice.
They have a couple of inserts, so we just have to get them in there. But you can put like drawers or cabinet doors or something like that. So we're getting that finishing touches on. But the cabinets themselves are done.
And you're using these as display piece. So like you're gonna put your Legos and models and toys and stuff in there. Okay, got it. Our adult
and storage for my patches and coins that are like scattered all over the house.
Got it.
See Eric shaking his head in disapproval.
Just send it to me, man. I'll take care of it. I will sell them for you.
No.
I have been selling so much of them. It's crazy.
Well, you're coin famous on eBay now. Like you had a moment. You're a eBay
That's
celebrity
right.
These days. Chris is selling his Hoda coin on eBay and hoping to get a pretty penny for it.
Well, I am watching that transaction to see if some idiot actually purchases.
Are you bidding on it to make it go up?
No, then there's the mistake of me actually buying my own thing back, which I still have plenty of downstairs.
Oh my God. Well, if it goes for a pretty penny, why don't you, I'll coin trade you. I have a fancy 20th anniversary, 20th anniversary NER coin. So Chris, your Calyxes are complete. You're going to use them as displays. And you said you're modifying them. Is that something that IKEA makes for them? Or do you have to like go to a special place and buy mods for these?
There's a lot of IKEA furniture that has those capabilities. You can make like glass doors or whatever, but the stuff that I have is like official IKEA
Got it.
modifications and whatnot. So, they're literally just like inserts. Like you insert this like cardboard backing, whatever, and then like screw in the sides, and like you got a door, and then or you just got a drawer.
Gotcha.
The rails for a drawer. So it's like it's really cool.
Nice.
That they offer that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Is that what's behind you, Eric? Is that a Calyx behind you?
Yeah, these are all Calyxes.
Okay. Very cool. And did you go with the white or the black?
Mine's all white.
Well, I meant the one I can't see. Nitro, did you get black or white?
No, mine are wood grain. Wood grain colored.
Oh, how Swedish of you.
Yes.
Okay, very nice. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you're having a great time modding your Calyxes. Whenever you said Calyx the first time, and I love IKEA, I'm just not familiar with their fancy names, but I immediately went to Doctor Who and the Daleks. And I was like picturing in my head like these big skirted robots holding all of your Legos and stuff. I don't know. It could be a thing. If you're listening, Doctor Who producers, I just gave you a new character. All right, the Calyx.
That could be a fun project. Actually, build a Dalek using Calyx.
I
mean, you can imagine like a skirt situation or like shelves. I mean, that's a huge recreation.
Well, I mean, I certainly have nothing going on over here with Chris's R2-D2. So I have all the time in the world. We'll just assign that project to Toots. You're welcome, Toots. That's what you get for showing up. All right, Eric, what have you been up to besides watching your coin skyrocket in popularity and bids?
Yeah, I'm very confused about that still. Well, I went to see, before the break, we were just talking about this. I went to see, we had seen Godzilla -1, and I went and saw Godzilla -1 minus color, which is the black and white version of it. So that was really cool. Really enjoying it. And then other than that, curling national championship.
Yes, the moment we've all been waiting for. So did it happen yet, or it's
well,
it's right now?
By the time we release episode, it would be done.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But it is still happening.
Nice.
First time it's in Northeast, in New Jersey.
Wow.
And we're very proud of that. And it's exciting. It's actually very funny because you can see the live stream on YouTube. And you can see, and it's in the mall. For those who don't know, American Dream is a huge mall here. And you can see really confused passerbys walking past and go, what is happening here?
So do you have like a curler that you're following, that you're tracking? Are you cheering someone on from a distance? Are you trading cards with your...
Honestly, I'm still so new at this. I think I am just paying attention to how everyone does things. And what's crazy is now that I've taken some classes, I have even more appreciation for how hard this whole thing is and how people do it now that I'm like with that kind of input, right? Like you watch it every Olympics, you're like, oh, that's cool. They're doing something fun. And then now you've actually done it yourself. You go, oh my God, how did they do that? And so I'm picking up little things here and there. We have like a group text with a few of my curling people.
Ooh, nice.
And then I'm like, ooh, like I see that they're doing this. Like, could we try to do that? And so, yeah, it's fun stuff. So, no. And then what's also fun is there's actually a lot of like previous national champions / like Olympic medalists who are here also, because it's a qualifier for Team USA for the Olympics.
Oh, okay, got it.
And so you see a lot of famous people, quote unquote, in the world of curling.
That's awesome. Well, you enjoy the heck out of that. You are such a geek, and that you make us proud. All right, Nitro. What time is it?
It's time to... There it is. It's focused. I was going to say it's time to focus my camera, but it focused.
Focus.
It's What You Watching time. For all our new listeners, this is a segment of our show where we go around the room and ask proverbial question, what you watching? Little screens, big screens, and paper screens. Whatever we're watching or reading, we're going to share with you. And I will start with me. I went around looking for The Bear, because it's been critically acclaimed, great show. It was kind of on my radar. I was like, I should still watch that. It looks pretty cool. I am a fan of Shameless, so the actor, I forgot his name completely, from the show, Lip on Shameless, stars in The Bear, and I was going to pick up on it, but I forgot what services it was on. I didn't have my phone near me, so I just started looking around. I started with Max for some reason, and as I typed in B, the Big Bang Theory came up, and I was like, oh, I want to watch that. So I started watching the Big Bang Theory because I never watched it. So yeah, The Bear is on pause, but I am watching the Big Bang Theory. I'm well into season 1, and obviously it's a great series. Wouldn't have gotten 12 seasons worth of shows if it wasn't good, and definitely plays to the heartstrings of being a geeky nerd type fantastic show. I've seen clips here and there. I know Mark Hamill's on it at some point, Neil deGrasse Tyson, all those fantastic nerd heroes. So yeah, I'm enjoying the Big Bang Theory, and The Bear will eventually be watched.
That's Jeremy Allen White, who is the star of The Bear, and he was also in Shameless, and he's also nominated. I know he's nominated for a SAG award. Did he win a Emmy? he last week won his Golden Globe, and he won his first Emmy this year. That's awesome for Best Actor in a Comedy. Yeah, I think you will thoroughly enjoy The Bear. My father was a chef, and so I grew up around kitchens, and it and I've worked in a lot of kitchens in my youth, and it captures the stress of working in a fast-paced, small, greasy spoon kitchen perfectly. So I think you'll enjoy it when you finally get to it.
It's very intense. I find this show.
I want to smoke a cigarette after watching each episode, and I haven't smoked for like 6 years. So it's very stressful.
Nice. Cool. All right, keeping it moving. We'll go over to Mr. Hoda himself. What you watching, Eric?
Well, so I talked about Godzilla. That's actually just primarily the only thing I've kind of watched. I, continuing some of these TV shows that we're talking about. I did watch this Netflix movie called Badland Hunters, and it's a Korean movie, which it's fascinating how Korean movie and music have just infiltrated the American psyche. But it's trending right now, top 10 I think in Netflix, and it features the guy from I think like Train to Busan, and like I really like this actor, and it's a post-apocalyptic kind of world. I mean, it's fine. There's like some fun fighting sequences in this movie, and I have quite enjoyed it. And then I went looking up this actor because I was like, wow, like where else have I seen this guy? Because he was also in the Eternals, MCU Eternals. But what's especially funny about him was I did not know on Wikipedia he is an amateur arm wrestler.
Oh my god!
And I think it's like the president of like the Korean Arm Wrestling Association. That's a thing. So he's a big dude. So I was not impressed. I was not surprised. I'm very impressed. And that's what I was watching.
Is that Don Lee who you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I'm looking at his picture now.
He was in MCU, right? So I'm not like making stuff up.
Yes, the Eternals. He was Gilgamesh.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. He was great.
He's actually been in quite a few things. He was also in Psy Summer Swag 2022. So speaking of how Korean music is infiltrating, my kids, my 4-year-old and my 6-year-old, are obsessed with Psy. And yeah, I know. I don't know.
From like 10 years ago.
I don't know. No, well, he came out with some new stuff too. So they're very into, yes, Gangnam Style. There's also that. And then there's a song, and I don't know what it's called. I don't know how my children found it, but some of the lyrics are like, "Where'd you get that body from? I got it from my daddy."
Oh yeah, that's from a Gentleman, I think.
Oh, okay.
He did that with yeah. He's the one who. That's the one he did with. Hold on, is it? Now I gotta look this up.
The hook is Mato Fato Gentleman.
Oh, no idea. All I remember is, where'd you get that body from? Where'd you get that body
it's
from?
Gentleman. It's Gentleman.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, well, my kids are obsessed with it, and they love watching the videos. They love his dancing.
Hold on, these things came out before they were born.
I don't know. I'm sure at one point my wife said, "Hey Google, play Gangnam Style," and then it became the anthem of our house. This is the same thing that happened when she said, "Hey Google, play Baby Got Back," and my then 3-year-old son and 5-year-old daughter were singing Baby Got Back in preschool and kindergarten. So the best thing is hearing my 5-year-old go, "Oh my God, Becky." Oh, anyway, so the Korean music has hit our.
By the way, like talking about like one of my coworkers, I think they were. This is when like Empire State of Mind was huge, like everyone was playing it, and one of these kids just picked it up.
Hold on a second.
Wait, is your Google
Hey Google, stop. Oh my God. My wife is going to kill me. Sorry, honey.
Anyway, so my coworkers, I think like 4-year-old niece got really into Empire State of Mind.
Oh.
And you don't think about it until this little girl started singing lyrics like, everybody ride her just like a bus route. and my coworkers was like, what did you just say?
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. Those, again, another song that you don't want your 5-year-old or 3-year-old to be singing in school. Yeah.
By the way, Nitro, I will also say I never got into Big Bang Theory. And it's the same reason why I never got into Silicon Valley.
Mm. Oh.
The reason being, both of these shows hit too close to home, and I don't like it. And I actually don't like the fact that Big Bang Theory, I feel like it's a parody of like, I think they try to make it a lot more than it is, like in terms of like this whole geekiness, like whatever kind of situation. And so I never quite liked it because it almost feel like a parody for me. Silicon Valley was too close to home because I remember when the show first came out, I had this idea about promoting something at work. And it's like, guys, this is what we do. We take a drone, we do all these things, and then this woman just stared at me and go, they just talked about this on Silicon Valley. And I go, son of a. So it is way too close. It is, so I think I saw like 2 episodes of it, and I just never continued it.
Oh my God.
So both of those shows.
Silicon Valley is a must-watch. You got you're a little bit removed from what happened, but so you just got to go back and revisit it and be like, oh, this is it.
I can't.
It's too. That's
real.
why I fell in love with The Office. I was like, when The Office got really big, I was no longer in the office environment, and I was like, yeah, this is all this stuff really happens. Mm-hmm. I didn't work for a paper company or anything, but it's just office life. So definitely watch it, please.
My dad, who owned a paper company.
Oh.
When The Office was off the air, I told him about The Office. And he was like, yeah, it's about this paper company in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And he goes, I know a paper company out in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And then so he's like, maybe the show's about them. And I was like, I don't think so, Dad. And then so I was like, it's about this really inappropriate like boss of like a paper company. He's like, that guy's very inappropriate. And then so he started watching it. Now, fast forward a few months, my dad and I were on the phone, and my dad was just like, hey, you know that show? Like, there's no paper. Like, they don't talk about paper in it. I go, he's like, that's not how we sell paper. We don't sell them by the reams. Like, what is this? And then I just go like, you're missing the point of the show, man.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Cool. All right, let's keep it moving. Since Toots is not here, let's remind all our listeners that Toots is not here today, and round out the segment with Mr. Pizzuto himself. Anthony, go ahead. What you watching?
Hi there. Yeah, I just texted Toots because after he missed us last week too. I just wanted to check in on him. So this week, I'm still working my way through The Crown. I got through the episode where Princess Margaret passed away. So this whole series is just sad. It's just a sad, sad series. So I'm very curious I think I'm 2 episodes away to the finale. So curious how they wrap this one up. Does Elizabeth die? Do they end it with Elizabeth dying? Don't spoil it for me.
Plot twist.
Yeah, hopefully this isn't a spoiler alert for everyone, but Queen Elizabeth passed away.
Well, this is not a spoiler. They talked about when they were going to end the show anyway. They never took it to modern day.
Got it.
I think they got it as close. I think there's a nice bow that they put on top of this entire show. So that's what I was saying.
Okay, very cool. So working my way through that. And then coming off of our conversation about what's on our bench and our upcoming cosplay, our group cosplay team of Ghostbusters, I've been watching a lot of... So I have the HasLab Proton Pack, and I did a bunch of mods to it already. You can see that video at madebyap.com. But I have some additional mods I want to make. So I'm going to upgrade the battery. I'm going to add an always on switch. So it's always making sounds. I'm going to upgrade the speaker on it. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos from people who have done that, just to kind of get a better understanding of what I need to do with the electronics. So hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll get that uploaded to the Made by AP channel. So spending a lot of time on YouTube learning. It's a great platform for that. And speaking of what we're watching and what we're excited about, we are going to talk about Star Wars this week. Star Wars, the topic that brought us all together in the first place.
And Toots is not here for this discussion.
Toots is not here. Toots is the one who picked this topic, and he's not here for it. I feel very dirty right now that we're about to do something bad, guys, but we got to do it. So we're going to do it, and we'll do an in memoriam for him for missing this episode.
Oh, no.
All right, so there is a lot going on in the world of Star Wars this year. If you've been watching the news or subscribed to StarWars.com's newsletter or just been into any of the Star Wars Facebook groups, you'll hear a lot about what's happening in the Star Wars universe this year. We have on deck for TV, The Acolyte, which is a series that takes us into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic. We have Skeleton Crew, starring Jude Law. What's he been up to? Oh, actually, he was in all those Harry Potter spin-off movies, right? He was Dumbledore. Anyway.
That no one watched.
I watched it on a plane. I watched all of them on a plane, and I only watched them once, so I don't remember anything that happened in them. But Skeleton Crew, starring Jude Law, is a story about 4 kids who make a mysterious discovery on their home planet that leads them to get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy. Series 3 of Bad Batch is coming very soon, which will be the final time we see Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Crosshair, Echo, and Omega. Or will it be the last time? It probably will be. Tales of the Jedi Series 2. That was so under the radar for me that I forgot there was a Series 1 to it. On the video game front, we have Outlaws coming from Ubisoft, and it's going to be on the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and it's set between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. It's an open-world extravaganza that will introduce us to new characters and new parts of the galaxy. And then an honorable mention, while it's starting production in 2024, we won't really see it until 2025 or 26, but Grogu and Mando are heading to the big screen. And on top of all of the stuff that's coming to a screen, there are also a lot of books and comic books that will be coming out this year as well in the Star Wars universe. We're not going to cover those today. We'll cover those in a subsequent episode. But we wanted to focus on what's going to the small screen and the video game screen. So, boys, what are you looking forward to most this year in the Star Wars universe? There's a lot going on. And there's a lot of stuff that has been out there for a while. Like, I think they talked about Acolyte and Skeleton Crew at Celebration, not 17, Chicago? Celebration Chicago, when was that, 19? Anaheim, maybe? I don't know. But it was, they announced it at a celebration, and it was a long time ago, it feels like.
I remember it in Anaheim.
Anaheim, okay. Got it. So it's been a few years. Anaheim was 2022?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we're 2 years out. And what's interesting, Acolyte is definitely confirmed. Skeleton Crew is the one that I seem to be getting kind of varying opinions on different news portals that it's actually happening in 2024. Because it was supposed to come out in 23, but it got pushed out to 24 for probably the strikes or something like that. But yeah, what are you guys looking forward to? Chris, you must be digging something on this list here. Tell us all about it.
I mean, in terms of TV shows, live action, I'm kind of excited about both of them. If I had to pick one, I would say The Acolyte. We've talked about this ad nauseum. We want to see just a new era in Star Wars. So that from what I understand, the Acolyte's going to take place about 100 years before the Phantom Menace, and it's going to showcase how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi Order. What the setting is going to be, we don't know, and planets or outer rims and mid rim, whatever the case, we don't know. I don't think we've gotten any of that information yet, or at least I've been blind to it because I want to be surprised. But yeah, I think for me that's the most exciting thing coming out in terms of live action TV. For animated shows, Tales of the Jedi season 1 was great, so I definitely recommend you watch it. It's a little obscure, but definitely has a little bit of backstory for things. But I'm excited for the Bad Batch season 3. The characters are amazing. I mean, the only thing I have to say is #Tech lives. That's I'm a firm believer that he's still alive, because many a time in Star Wars have we seen characters fall into a pit or something, and they make appearances later on, and he's too much of a lovable character to just go like that in that fashion. So I'm a firm believer Tech lives.
That's a really interesting observation that I never really thought about until you just said it. Luke falls into the duct on Bespin, Boba Fett, and survives, obviously. Boba Fett falls in the Sarlacc and survived actually in a comic book that came out shortly after in the 80s, but then they codified it, in the canon in the Book of Boba Fett, or actually Mandalorian season whatever too. He fell into a hole. Now Tech falling into a hole. So what's up
Darth Maul?
Darth Maul, yes, Darth Maul falling into a hole.
Cut into a half, fall into a hole.
Okay, so
Palpatine?
Yes,
Fall into a
Palpatine.
hole.
Yes, okay, 5 for 5. All right, where are our tinfoil hats, people? What is going on with all these characters?
Mace Windu is still alive. It's my tinfoil hat.
He was thrown out.
He also fell somewhere. We don't see his body. I mean, it's...
Wasn't there a big thing for Rise of Skywalker where they thought Windu was going to come back or something like that? That would have been...
Windu was Snoke. People
Windu
were
was Snoke. Oh my God. Those sequel... We could dedicate a whole episode to just the sequel scandals or the sequel tinfoil hat people. So Tales of the Jedi, what was that? What was that about? And why should I watch Series 2? Season 2.
So there are small story arcs. We see how in a couple of the episodes, or at least one of the episode, we see how Ahsoka gets recruited, absorbed into, taken into the Jedi Order as a child, as a baby.
That's interesting.
The traumatic experience. You see a young Qui-Gon and I'm blanking here. Eric, help me out. Qui-Gon and Count Dooku.
Okay.
When they were master and apprentice.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's that. It's a little bit of historical backstories of beloved characters. Those are the ones that stand out a lot for me. So the smaller story arcs. Yeah. So I don't think maybe there has been footage released at Celebration. I didn't see any in London.
Mm-hmm.
I was at London. Eric was in London.
No, he wasn't.
Anthony was in London.
No, he wasn't. Was it like Visions, but with established characters? Because I feel like Visions.
No, Visions was a very big let's play with animation. How many different kinds of animation styles can we get in Star Wars? I think that's what Visions really showcased.
Gotcha.
There what I think. I haven't seen it in a long time. There was a little bit of CG, animation. I don't think they were all exactly the same animation style. I could be completely wrong. I don't remember.
Yeah. No, they it's not, and the reason is because they handed off the story to different production houses, and they say hey, if you were to tell the story in your world, it's not a canon story or anything, but imagine Star Wars in Japan, like, and how
Okay.
Japanese animators approach this, right? So that's what Vision's all about. Whereas Tales of the Jedi feels a little bit more in canon because it's talking about the origin or some of these backstories that are nice, so you can kind of fill in between
Gotcha.
the kind of different stories we have out there.
Now, speaking of animation and these backstories, Marvel did their What If series a couple years back. Do you think it would be fruitful to do a Star Wars? And if so, what ifs would you be interested in seeing?
But what if served a purpose in the multiverse, right? I think they use that as a mechanism for people to like really think about the other multiverse characters to kind of like set up Spider-Man. I think it was What If was a mechanism for that. I don't think it was just like, oh, well, let's do this random thing. I have not watched season 2 of What If, so take that for a grain of salt. But the first season for me was like, hey, let's just get listeners or watchers' minds open to the fact that multiple characters exist, and we're trying to merge the Fox, Sony, and what's the other, whoever the other production company was. I forgot who does the MCU. Disney.
Yeah.
Right? Let's get all three of those stories merged together through What If. So I don't think that.
All right.
The only thing that can be done in Star Wars is like trying to like bring Legends stories into the canon.
Yeah. So it looks like following the establishment of the multiverse in the first season finale of Loki, What If explores various alternate timelines across the multiverse in which major moments from the Marvel Cinematic Universe films occur differently, as observed by the Watcher. In the second season following the formation of the Guardians of the Multiverse, the Watcher continues to explore more strange worlds, meeting new heroes, and keeping the multiverse safe. So it seems like season 2 actually had a much more overarching plot to it. Okay, so ignore that, what I asked, but spin it. If there was a What If series for Star Wars that had no impacts on a multiverse because one doesn't necessarily exist in the Star Wars universe yet, I'm sure it's coming. What if scenarios out of the 9? Let's just stick it to the 9. The 9 Skywalker saga movies would you be interested in seeing? So, for example,
wait,
what's that?
You mean like what kind of what if related to these stories would I want to see?
Yeah, so what if the Millennium Falcon couldn't take off from Echo Base?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
What would that have been like? And they get captured.
What if the Death Star did not blow up?
Exactly. What happens if the Death Star got there on time and blew up Yavin before they blew up the Death Star? Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm with Chris here, where I feel like
you guys don't like to role play, do you?
No. If Star Wars to go down this road of what if, I like this idea of bringing back in Legends material, right? So like, what if in the world where Han Solo had different children, like we've seen in the books, right? We haven't talked about story like Mara Jade, like all these kind of things that, by the way, you don't need to go create new material. You already have decades of material you can go ahead and use. Like, such an easy way to monetize. And suckers like Star Wars fanboys and girls will fall in line and just kind of go check those things out. Like, I guarantee, like, I really, really think that will happen. And so, if there were, and also because I don't think the theory of multiverse is as established in the world of Star Wars as it is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so to do literally kind of what happens with Marvel What If, I think it's going to be a challenging and does not serve the purpose for the overall story.
Oh my God, you guys are overthinking this. All I wanted to know is a situation in the Star Wars universe that what happens, what What if something different happened? That's all I want to know. Is there anything?
No one invites us over to play Dungeons and Dragons, all right?
Oh my God. Stop overthinking it. So there's no situation in the Star Wars universe where you would be curious to see, if it was a choose your own adventure and you went to page 10 instead of page 12, what would have happened differently?
I mean, we as fans, I think we see them all the time, and they all end the same way, right?
Yeah.
Like Greedo shoots first, right?
Yeah.
And hits Han. The next scene, written and directed by George Lucas.
Yeah, right.
Right? That's if this happened, if the Death Star made it, boom, movie's over. I think it's an inside joke, like you could fix a lot of the plot holes or whatever the case may be. Is like, if you just did, what if the slug assassin thing, got to Padme, boom, story's over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's I think that's like the running joke in Star Wars. Is like all you do is change this one little thing, boom, it's over. The whole 9 episodes gone.
All right.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't like that is literally the same thing that What If is doing. What If is drawing from like all these old comics that's being out there, and they're kind of bringing them back in. And so,
yeah. I mean, What If was a comic series, from Marvel. Yeah. No, all I was curious is if there was a situation that you have ever had a curiosity about, like, what if they didn't meet Han Solo? What if he had left early? Who in the cantina would they have gone with, and how would that have been interesting? I don't know. I think it could have been these fantasy, this fantasy content. What if I turned left instead of right? What would have happened differently? I think it could be a fun concept. It does not have to do anything with a multiverse or anything like that. It is pure fantasy and entertainment.
I think we hit the nail on the head there with Marvel, is that they have to no end have rebooted and restarted series, changed characters from male to female. They have done everything inside and out, upside down, left to right. Like, they've done all that stuff. So they have material that they could just say, yeah, you know what? We can do a What If because we've done the What If. Whereas Star Wars has just been like, the only major rift that Star Wars has done is like, nope, this is all Legends now. And right. And so that's the only thing. That's why I said the only thing we can do is reintroduce some of that stuff, like have a Mara Jade story. That's the left turn, right? Like what if Luke did get married or had relations and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, you guys way overthought this. All right. Moving on. Eric, what are you looking forward to in the Star Wars universe in 2024? Looks like you got a lot of good things to choose from.
No, honestly, none of the above.
Wow, the Dissenter. Okay.
Well, actually, if Acolyte does come out this year, I am very excited about Acolyte because I don't think that in live action we have addressed that period of time at all. And I think that'll be really cool to see. So and they have a great cast, and I'm very excited about that. So yeah, I mean, like when that comes out, I'll be very excited about it. I honestly never, I mean, I've watched them all, but I never really got into all the animated Star Wars shows. I feel like I've always been much more partial to live action kind of shows, so that's why things like Endor like really kind of drew me, like different direction, different kind of things. So I don't hate them, I just never really like, I'm not a huge like diehard defender of these guys, so I will watch them. I'm not there's nothing like good or bad about them, I'll just watch them. But I am excited for Acolyte, and I'm also excited for in 2025 I think Endor season 2 is coming out.
Yes.
And we know folks in the UK who's already spotted folks filming for these things. So I'm very, very excited for that as well for season 2. So yeah, I mean, no, I think to me it's going to be a relatively light Star Wars year, content wise. But I'm excited to see all the new content come out, and I'm just excited about the new fans that these things attract. Right, I think that there are people whose entry into the Star Wars world are these animated shows, and it's cool to see the fan base grow from that perspective.
Do you think those who are entering the Star Wars universe for the first time through the animation are the younger generation, or our generation, or both?
They have. I feel like they are. You know, it's like kind of like it's fun, and this is now putting on our 501st hat, right? When we go out there and troop, um, you can tell when people entered into the world of Star Wars by their favorite characters. Um, you know, like sure, people make fun of Jar Jar maybe in our generation, but there's a whole generation of like people who grew up loving Jar Jar Binks, and I think like some like old school Star Wars fans will not like believe and understand that, but we see that all the time when we go out there and talk to folks, right? So just the same as how like the prequels inspired a new group of people who follow who's learned about like that story from that point of view. I think that we have also run into people who knows about the clones a lot more, for example, than I ever will. Like these guys know the clones back. I was like, aren't they the same people? And they're like, no, it's you know, there's all these stories, and I've watched them all, but not to the point of like the like I think the excitement level that these people bring because that is what they grew up with. And yeah, I think it tends to be potentially, and I don't think this is controversial, a different younger audiences as they're kind of watching, you know, through this and learning about Star Wars through these shows.
That's great. Chris, when did you get your kids involved with the Star Wars universe? Like, when did you introduce? Have you shown them the movies yet?
Yes, 100%. I didn't get, I didn't watch the Clone Wars till after my daughter was born. She was about 1.5, 2 years old or something like that. And so I was watching the Clone Wars for myself. I wasn't really watching it for her, but she became engrossed in it. She doesn't remember. She was way too young, 2 years old, 1.5, like she, I just remember her like liking the music, enjoying the characters every once in a while. But she couldn't sit through an entire episode, even though they're short, 20-minute episodes or like half episodes or whatever the case may be. But when the episode started and the fanfare came on, the Star Wars theme, she would sit there and bob her head and sing along to the theme. So like that's what I got my daughter into Star Wars, and it's kind of like ingrained in her. My son is he's selective in what he likes. And then, we don't watch everything in front of them. Like, we think Andor's too adult for them. But they've seen all the films. They probably couldn't tell you exactly what's what. They've been to the parks multiple times. Again, they've been to Celebration twice. I've been to to 2 different celebrations myself. Right. And they've been to both of them. So they like Star Wars. But they're not like us. They're not nerds about it. They're not like, oh, we could tell you all the characters' names and this and that and everything. They do like the stories. We have the Golden Books versions of the movies. I forgot the author's name, but we have like, I forgot. It was like Goodnight Darth Vader.
Yep. Yeah.
Or you know what I'm talking about. So we have those books, and they like Star Wars. They're little. They are trying to. Disney's trying to get that super young demographic with Young Jedi Adventures. Yep. Preschooler age, I think it's targeted towards. My kid's a little too old for that, but when they debuted it in Celebration last year, they debuted the first 2 episodes. My son was glued to that screen.
Oh yeah. Nice.
He was 5 at the time, so kind of age appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So I am looking forward to, what am I looking forward to with Star Wars in 24? I'm definitely looking forward to the Acolyte. I do agree. I haven't read any of the High Republic books yet, but I did read the comic series, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I do have the books. I just haven't read them yet. But and we've talked about this. I don't think on air, but in person, we've talked about like my distaste for using Darth Vader to sell the series. And what's great about the High Republic is Darth Vader doesn't exist in it. So we can actually now focus on new characters and new stories and new adventures and a whole new era in our galaxy far, far away. So that's what I'm really excited about. Skeleton Crew, I'm a little. I like the grown-up Star Wars. I don't like the kid Star Wars, and I have a feeling that Skeleton Crew is going to be a kid Star Wars, which is fine. Again, it goes back to your point. They're trying to target a specific demographic with that, and that's great. Do it by all means. I'll probably watch it in the background, but I'm definitely more of like an Andor guy. I loved Andor. What was the other one? Mandalorian is started out pretty good. Ahsoka was so-so. Was a so-so. I guess see what I did there? But that's all coming in 2025. Oh, come on. I stayed up all night coming up with that joke. Tales of the Jedi. Well, I need to watch the first one first. And Bad Batch. I know I am like the outlier here. I was not into it. I tried. I watched it. I watched the whole series, 1 and 2. It was okay. I liked Rebels. I liked Clone Wars back when it was first on. I've tried to rewatch it, and it's I just but I will watch Bad Batch just so I can have something to talk about with you geeks. But other than that, yeah. And Outlaws, I love my Star Wars video games. There needs to be more of them. And the Jedi Order, Fallen Order, and what was the other one? Jedi Survivor. Were great. They were semi-open world, which was a lot of fun. I mean, good 30-plus hour, 40-hour games. I'm hoping that Outlaws... I have a feeling that Outlaws is going to be more like Red Dead meets, Hogwarts or something like that. It's going to be much more open world, choose your own adventure type of situation. So that'll be a lot of fun. So I'm hoping, and I'm hoping that it's cross-platform compatible so we can all play. Because I don't think we're all on PlayStation, right? Or are we? No, we're not. Okay. So
I have them all.
You have them all. Okay. And then before we wrap up today's episode, what are y'all thinking about a feature film on the big screen of Grogu and Mandalorian? What are they going to do? Is this known? Is this going to replace season 5? 4? Is it 4? Season 4? Oh, I forgot about Book of Boba Fett. I didn't get a chance to throw shade at that one. That was terrible. Okay. Now so the feature of Mando and Grogu, what do y'all think that's going to be about? Are you excited for it? Is it needed? Or do we prefer
it's in the
Mando?
title.
Oh, it's in the title?
I mean, we know that it's loosely and roughly based on Lone Wolf and Cub, right? So it's going to be some kind of continuation of adventure with the two of them, right? Mm-hmm. So is Grogu slightly older and maybe he's more in tune with the Force, where he can interact with things and whatnot? Obviously, he didn't go through the Jedi training. He chose the chainmail versus the lightsaber. I don't know. It remains to be seen. I have not seen or read the Lone Wolf and Cub series. But I would if I went into Wikipedia and read the whole thing, I guarantee there's going to be stuff from that in the film.
And I'm embarrassed to say this, but what's Lone Wolf and Red? Or ask this.
Cub.
Red.
Lone Wolf and Cub.
Lone Wolf and Cub.
It's a... I'm going to lose a little bit of my geek cred here, but it's a manga series?
Yeah. 1970. Lone Wolf and Cub. What was Volume 1, The Assassin's Road? Oh, interesting. Oh. The cover of the book looks exactly like what Mandalorian is. It's a man protecting a baby in a carriage. Okay. So
you're welcome.
Okay. So but that's Mandalorian in general. Oh, Frank Miller did the cover art. So the movie is just that?
We all know that Dave Filoni has been entrusted with the lore.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know that George Lucas, has definitely borrowed from Kurosawa.
Yep.
And a lot of Kurosawa's films, The Hidden Fortress, for example, are literally in Star Wars. Right. So this is just another step that Dave Filoni has said, the what do we call him? The maker has borrowed from Japanese art, and I'm going to continue that tradition and borrow from Japanese art with the continuation of this Western, the lone wolf and cub.
Right. Got it.
So I think that's why I said it. That's why I believe that it's just going to be, if I were to have read the series, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is what happens in book whatever or series this.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right.
I think it's just a great excuse to sell more merch, is what it is.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Let's be real here. The moment that Baby Yoda shows up on the big screen, like, people will lose their marbles, and so.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Do you think that the film is going to be the conclusion of the series, or is this going to be a footnote? Not a footnote, but a chapter in the series.
I think it depends on how well the film does in the box office. Yeah. Is what it is.
Well, Disney hasn't been doing too well at all in the box office this past year, so you'll be curious to see if a Star Wars will be able to help it out in 2025.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. Like, I think it's like I've like the recurring theme I've had is more Star Wars is good Star Wars, right? Like, I don't care in what format it comes from. And I'm just excited because now everyone, for example, have access to Disney Plus, so they might not have seen a lot of these backstories. So, kind of like my gripe that I've had in the past, right? Like, do we have to then watch TV to kind of watch a show kind of situation? Right. Like, watch a show to watch a movie. I hope that doesn't happen, and I'll be curious to see kind of how they kind of build all that together. So I don't know. I'm just excited though.
Ditto. Awesome. Cool. Any final thoughts on Star Wars in 2024 and 2025?
As Eric just said, all Star Wars is good Star Wars.
I like that. All Star Wars is good Star Wars. Maybe that'll be the title of today's episode. All right.
Maybe we're not being picky enough. Is what I'm picking up on.
Well, no, I think we've all made pretty good pros and cons of what's coming in, what we like, what we don't like. But at the end of the day, we're fans. And to both of your points, it's more fuel for our passion. We all love Star Wars for different reasons. It could be the story, it could be the visuals, it could be the effects, it could be whatever it is. But we all love it for different reasons. We all gravitate it for different reasons, and we're not going to love everything, and we're not going to hate everything. So yes, I agree that all Star Wars is it's not good Star Wars, but it's good to have a lot of Star Wars. So, all right. Well, boys, thank you so much. And folks listening, let's keep the conversation going and let us know what you're excited to see, read, or play in the Star Wars universe this year on our Facebook page. Just search for Geeky A Go-Go and drop us a note. Well, that's all we have this week, so make sure you're following us everywhere at Geeky A Go-Go. Thank you, Chris, Eric, and Toots. I hope you're okay, man. And if you're listening to this, just make sure you download it on every device so we can get the credit.
And make sure you comment, Tim.
Yeah.
On what your favorite Star Wars movie is.
Comment and share the post, Tim. That's your homework assignment. And folks, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe or follow the podcast on your favorite platform. And please leave us a review. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it does help us reach more and more people. Until next time, you stay geeky, Internet.
Bye.
Oh, you did it in unison this time. Good job. I'm so proud of you.